Introducing the Nutraplanet News with Jasmine and Bradley.
Hey Nutraplanet explorers! Welcome to Nutraplanet News, where we turn ordinary food into extraordinary adventures. I'm Jasmine, and with me today is my co-host Bradley. Last week at the grocery store, I saw this massive display of pumpkins and thought, perfect! I'll grab one to carve for Halloween. But as I was picking one up, this random thought hit me. What if I actually ate this instead of just scooping out the guts and throwing them away?
That single thought just opened the door to one of the most incredible food stories on the planet, Jasmine.
What if I told you that the leftover pumpkin guts you throw away every Halloween contain more nutrition than most of the food in your kitchen? What if that carved pumpkin sitting on your porch could have fed your family for a week? And what if the pumpkin seeds you're tossing in the trash are actually one of nature's most powerful superfoods? So if you've ever looked at a pumpkin and seen just a Halloween decoration, prepare to have your mind completely changed. We're about to reveal the hidden power behind every pumpkin patch and why your next trip to the grocery store will never look the same. Let's travel back 8,000 years to where this incredible story begins. Picture this. We're in Mesoamerica, what's now southern Mexico and parts of Central America. But here's what would shock you. The pumpkins growing there look nothing like the round orange giants we see today. These original pumpkins were small, bitter, and honestly pretty weird looking. So why did ancient people bother with them when they could have grown anything else? Because these early humans discovered something remarkable. The seeds were packed with nutrients that could keep them alive during harsh seasons. And those tough shells, they became the world's first food storage containers. When ancient people hollowed out pumpkins, they were solving the same problem we solve with Tupperware: how to store food safely, thousands of years before plastic was even imagined.
So basically the first meal prep containers?
Exactly! But here's where the story gets really amazing. As these civilizations grew and began trading with distant lands, something incredible happened. Pumpkins began traveling, first along trading routes on land, then across vast oceans on ships to Europe, Asia, and Africa. And wherever pumpkins landed, they adapted to fit that place, both in how they grew and how people used them. In Thailand, they became the base for spicy coconut curries. In Mexico, they transformed into sweet treats for Day of the Dead celebrations. In America, they claim their place on every Thanksgiving table. Today, pumpkins grow on every continent except Antarctica. China alone produces 7 million tons every year. Imagine 3,500 school buses filled with pumpkins, and you're getting close to that number.
Can we play something a little more upbeat?
Here's something that will blow your mind. That bright orange color you see in pumpkins, it's not just pretty to look at. We're looking at beta-carotene, and your body converts this into vitamin A faster than you can say jack-o'-lantern. 1 cup of cooked pumpkin delivers 245% of your daily vitamin A needs.
Wait, Bradley, before we did this episode, you mentioned that vitamin A was the one that helps with vision, right?
Vitamin A keeps your eyes functioning properly, especially in low light. But it's also maintaining your skin health and keeping your immune system strong enough to fight off infections. And that's just the beginning of what's packed inside that pumpkin flesh. You've got vitamin C working as your body's defense system against illness. Vitamin E protects your cells from damage. Potassium keeps your heart rhythm steady. Iron transports oxygen through your bloodstream to every part of your body. Fiber keeps your digestive system working smoothly. All of this nutritional power comes in a package with only 49 calories per cup. That's actually fewer calories than a banana. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The flesh and the seeds offer completely different nutritional benefits. While the orange flesh is your vitamin powerhouse, those seeds everyone throws away are loaded with minerals. We're talking about magnesium for muscle function, zinc for immune support, and healthy fats that your brain needs to work properly.
So pumpkins are literally 2 different superfoods in one.
Exactly. But here's the catch. Not all pumpkins are created equal when it comes to cooking. Choose the wrong variety, and you'll end up with a watery, flavorless mess instead of the nutritional powerhouse you're expecting. The type of pumpkin you pick makes all the difference between a delicious meal and a disappointing disaster.
I learned this lesson the hard way during my first attempt at making homemade pumpkin pie. I was so excited to use a fresh pumpkin instead of the canned stuff my family usually used. I went to the store, saw these massive, beautiful pumpkins, and thought, perfect. Bigger means better, right? Wrong. So very wrong. I spent hours cutting, roasting, and pureeing this giant pumpkin, only to end up with pie filling that tasted like watery mush. That's when I learned that those big, gorgeous pumpkins are called jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, and they were bred for carving, not eating. Their flesh is watery and stringy because they were designed to be easy to carve, not delicious to eat. The pumpkins you actually want for cooking are called sugar pumpkins or pie pumpkins. They're smaller, usually about the size of a volleyball, but they're packed with dense, sweet, flavorful flesh. These are what my grandmother always used for her soups and pies, and now I understand why.
What about those fancy-looking varieties we see in stores now?
There are some amazing options. Cinderella pumpkins come from France and have this beautiful flattened shape with deep orange color. When you cook them, they become incredibly silky and naturally sweet. Then there's the kabocha pumpkin from Japan. It looks totally different with green skin on the outside, but inside it's bright orange and tastes almost like a cross between a pumpkin and a sweet potato. And those white pumpkins everyone's using for modern Halloween decorations, they might not have the beta-carotene that gives the orange color, but they still have plenty of fiber and other vitamins. Plus, they're perfect if you want your decorations to match your house's color scheme.
So, how do you actually pick a good cooking pumpkin?
After my pie disaster, I became obsessed with learning the signs of a perfect eating pumpkin. And I'm about to share everything I wish someone had told me before that failed baking experiment.
Once someone has the right pumpkin, what's the easiest way to actually use it?
Let me share the approach that has worked best for me, starting with something super simple. For the seeds, which my grandmother taught me never to waste, rinse them clean, pat them dry with a paper towel, then toss them with a little oil and your favorite seasoning. I love trying different combinations, like cinnamon sugar for a sweet snack, or garlic powder and paprika for something savory. Spread them on a baking sheet and roast at 325 degrees for about 20 minutes, stirring them once halfway through. For quick meal additions, I keep canned pumpkin in our pantry and add a couple of tablespoons to my morning oatmeal with some pumpkin pie spice. It makes breakfast taste like fall and adds tons of nutrition. Here's another trick I discovered. Freeze canned pumpkin in ice cube trays, then pop a cube into smoothies with banana and yogurt. It tastes like you're drinking pumpkin pie, but it's actually healthy. The coolest thing about pumpkin is how well it works in both sweet and savory dishes. I even added to mac and cheese for extra creaminess and nutrition. The same ingredient that makes amazing pie can also make your regular dinner more interesting and nutritious. But before you get too excited about cooking with pumpkins, there are some myths we need to clear up first.
Pumpkin myths that might be messing with your shopping decisions. Let's start with something that surprises most people. Canned pumpkin. You might think canned pumpkin is just processed junk food, but here's what most people get wrong. Canned pumpkin is actually more nutritious than fresh in many ways. When pumpkin is cooked and canned, the beta-carotene becomes concentrated, which means you get more of that important vitamin A in every spoonful. Plus, those pumpkins are picked and processed at peak ripeness, locking in nutrients that might be lost in fresh pumpkins that have been sitting around for weeks. Don't sleep on canned pumpkin. It might be one of the healthiest items in the canned food aisle.
I used to be so snobby about canned pumpkin until I learned this.
Myth number 2 we touched on earlier, but it's worth repeating because it ruins so many cooking projects. Using jack-o'-lantern pumpkins for food. This is a recipe for disappointment because carving pumpkins were specifically bred for size and thick walls that are easy to carve, not for flavor. Their flesh is watery and stringy and tastes pretty bland. It's like trying to make a gourmet meal with cardboard. Always use sugar pumpkins or pie pumpkins for cooking. And here's another one that catches people off guard. Pumpkin spice contains zero actual pumpkin. It's just a blend of warm spices. Cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, cloves, and sometimes allspice. No pumpkin anywhere in that mixture. But here's a simple upgrade. Add real pumpkin puree to your oatmeal, yogurt, or smoothies, then add pumpkin spice seasoning. Now you get the real nutritional benefits, plus that flavor everyone loves. Now that we've cleared up these misconceptions, let's look at the bigger picture and speak on some fun pumpkin facts. Prepare your brain for the pumpkin zone. These facts are so wild you might need to hear them twice to believe them. First up, the heavyweight champion of the pumpkin world. A farmer in Minnesota grew a pumpkin weighing 2,749 pounds. That's literally heavier than most cars. This monster was so massive it needed a forklift just to move it around. Imagine trying to carve that thing. You'd need power tools. Speaking of massive pumpkin creations, the biggest pumpkin pie ever made was 20 feet wide and weighed 3,699 pounds. It required over 1,800 eggs and 525 pounds of sugar to make. And yes, people actually ate it. An entire town turned it into the most epic pie party in recorded history. And here's something that would surprise most people. The original jack-o'-lanterns had nothing to do with pumpkins. They were carved from turnips in Ireland. When Irish immigrants came to America, they discovered that pumpkins were much bigger and easier to carve than those rock-hard turnips they'd been using back home. Now here's a fact that connects to something we eat regularly. There's a tiny town called Morton, Illinois, that's basically the pumpkin capital of America. This one small town produces 75% of all the canned pumpkins sold in American stores. So if you've ever eaten pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread, or added canned pumpkin to a smoothie, there's a really good chance it came from this pumpkin paradise in Illinois.
So here we are, at the end of our pumpkin journey, and I have to tell you, this episode changed how I see food forever. When I started researching pumpkins, I thought I was just learning about a seasonal vegetable. But what I discovered was so much bigger than that. I learned that every time I look at a pumpkin, I'm looking at 8,000 years of human survival and innovation. I'm seeing the ingenuity of ancient civilizations who turned bitter gourds into life-saving nutrition. I'm witnessing the incredible journey of a plant that traveled across oceans and adapted to every climate and culture it encountered. I learned that the leftover parts I used to throw away, those guts and seeds, are actually more nutritious than most of the food in my kitchen. But most importantly, I learned that my grandmother was right all along. She understood something that took me years to figure out, that when we really look at our food, we discover connections to history, to science, to our planet, and to each other. Every meal is an opportunity to honor the incredible journey that brought that food to our table. So the next time you see a pumpkin, whether it's sitting in a patch, glowing on a porch, or waiting in a grocery store display, I want you to see what I see now. See the ancient wisdom. See the nutritional power. See the environmental opportunity. See the story that connects you to thousands of years of human ingenuity and survival. Because when we approach our food with curiosity instead of habit, when we choose to learn instead of assume, when we decide to use instead of waste, that's when ordinary ingredients become extraordinary opportunities. That's when a simple pumpkin becomes a gateway to understanding our world. This is Jasmine with Nutraplanet News, reminding you that the most powerful discoveries are often hiding in the most ordinary places. Stay curious, stay hungry for knowledge, and remember, there's always more to the story than what meets the eye.
Now watch me grow, that's all I need. Let's grow. Started small, just a seed in the ground. Soaking the water, making no sound. Roots growing down, shoes going up. Fill me with sunshine, filling my cup. First of the leaves, popping out green. Cutest baby plant you've ever seen. Secret growing while you sleep tight. Getting bigger every single night. From seed to vine, watch me climb. Growing time. Getting bigger all the time. All the time. Orange power, that's my shine. That's my shine. Secret growing, I'm so fine. I'm so fine. Now I got vines stretching so far. Flowers blooming like I'm a star. Bees come visit, help me out. Pollination, that's what it's about. Little green ball starting the show. Day by